Is session 2 of week 2, and we are going to talk about formulas and functions. Okay, so let's move to functions. Now, yesterday, as I was talking, I said Excel formulas are created by the user, and that was the examples we created yesterday about multiplying, adding, trying to do some calculations with the values and all that. They are formulas created by you, the user. But Excel also has its predefined formulas, and they are the functions. And we are going to talk about the first one, that is the sum. And the sum works the same as what we did yesterday by entering equal to something plus something. But instead of typing something like equals maybe G3 plus H3 or whatever, instead of doing that, we can simply do sum and then open brackets. And then you see that Excel is giving you some intelligence here. Please, in your journey in Excel, this is what it will be doing for you when you enter a function. You see the function name, you see it here. Wherever you have reached, you see that that particular thing is boldened. You see that it says sum, then it opens bracket, then the number 1 is boldened. It means enter the first value. So the values that we want to sum, you can enter the first one, and then it says comma. So there's comma at the end of the number 1, then comma. Then it says number 2. You see that it has boldened the second one, whilst the first one is off. Let me increase the font size again. Okay, so equal to 4 comma, then it says number 2, then 5, you can press comma, so you can add as many numbers as you want, comma, whatever, then you close it. When you close it, sorry, so when you close it, you press enter, and then it adds all those numbers you listed. So that is the sum. Instead of using something like equals 4 plus 5 plus 8, we can simply type in the function sum. Then sum will do the calculations for us. But this is not the ideal situation where we will be typing in for whatever. We can do sum. We can use the sum function by simply doing this sum, and then if I want to sum all the prices, I can just select all of them. So I click and drag over it. So you click and drag over it, you see that Excel has selected the whole thing, and there's a line going around it telling you that you have selected this to be summed. Now look at the formula. It says B4 colon B14. It is not going to list B4, B5, B6. No. The colon is telling you that it is B4 to B14, and everything in between B4 and B14 are included in the sum. So we close it, and then we press enter, and it has added all the prices together, and that is what we are getting, $28, $28.29. So that is for the sum. I think yesterday we did we do any sum here? Okay, there was a sum here. So let's try it here. We type B4 multiplied by C4 plus D4. Okay, but in this case, we are going to use the sum in this case. So how are we going to do it? We want it to multiply B4 and C4 before we sum it with D4. How are we going to use the sum in this case? We just type in our sum, and the B4 is already multiplying C4, and then instead of plus we'll put comma, and then we can close this, then it will give us the answer, the same answer. Yeah, so the B4 times the C4, that one is multiplication. If you put comma here, it will do it individually. It will take B4, add it to C4, and then add it to D4. But that is not what we want. We want to multiply B4 by C4, and it will give us a number, and that number will replace this our first number, and then D4 will replace the second number, and that is what gives us this. So that is for the sum. Sum is not difficult. It is the same thing as the addition that we were doing. And there is also a simple way of accessing the sum function. You can also access it here. When you come to the home tab, that one is called auto sum. So with this sum function here, it works when we have something like this. Let me see if I can do it here. Let me merge this. Okay, so I want to sum the prices here. Instead of going in to type equals sum, I can just come here and click on this, and then automatically Excel has been able to detect that I want to sum all the prices. Then it has put the formula there for me, and then I just press enter, and everything has been summed. So that one works. That is auto sum. If I place it here, let's try this and see. If I place it somewhere here and I go to the auto sum, look at what it's doing. It is trying to read from the closest numbers that it can find that are continuous, or they follow each other, to add them together and then sum it for you. So that is with the sum. So we have talked about the auto sum and then the normal sum that you can type in. It's the same thing. All right. So we have max as a function in Excel, max and min. And when you hear max, it simply means maximum. So we are going to look at the maximum number in a set of numbers. And let's try and use these numbers and see. The maximum number, we already know that it should be this 28. It will definitely be this 28. So we are going to type the Excel function, and that is equals max. So when you are typing, you see that Excel is giving you suggestions. So we know that it is a function in Excel, and we select. Now it is telling us enter number one. Which number? So I'll enter. So let's try an example before I'll come and use it on the table. So 6, let's say 5, 8, the next number 9, the next number, let's say 1. So I close the brackets, and these numbers, the maximum we all know is what? 9. So I press enter and it gives me 9. So that is the my max function. That is how it works. And as I always say, this is not ideal in using in the real world situation. You don't enter numbers in it like that. So we have to reference it to cells so that whenever the user comes to enter anything, it can just pick it up from there. The user will not come and use your formula. So that is with Excel. If you are creating a software or something for someone, the formulas are not to be used by the user. It is only you, the should I say the programmer or the Excel programmer, who will be able to edit the formula. If you show your formulas to people, they will just destroy it because they don't understand what is going on in there. You are the only person who knows what is going on there. So you will just reference the cells you want the users to enter the values so that you just use the formula to calculate anything that you want. So we are going to reference these numbers, And I've selected all of them together, and that is B4 colon B15. Then we press enter, and it is telling us that 28.29 is the maximum number amongst these numbers. So if I change something here, let me change it to 40. Okay, it's still summing up to this place, so it will always take the number here. Let me delete this one from there. Okay, so it is $40. If I change another one here to 70, it will take the 70. Then it will say that that is $70 as the maximum. So we have maximum. Is this the same thing applies to the minimum? Minimum to has the same functionality. And when you press enter, it will give you the minimum value amongst all these numbers, and the minimum is 1.89. The minimum amongst all these numbers is 1.89. Okay, now we have average. Average is what we have been learning in schools. That is the mean or whatever. The average. Uh, we how do I say it? We are going to find the average of these sets of numbers. So that is, it is going to return the, how do I explain average? Okay, very rough. So let's see. Unless maybe anyone who is going to use the average function, I think the person simply knows what average means. That's why you are going to use it. So we are going to find the average of these set of numbers. So we select all of them. Oh, sorry, we have to first get our average function. So you type, and then it gives you the intelligence, select, and then you select the set of numbers, and it will give you the average. The average is the total number, the total amount divided by the number of items here. That is how the average is calculated. But Excel has given us a function that will do all these within a shortest possible time without typing long formulas to calculate the average. So this is the average. So averagely, the price is $12. So averagely, our prices are around $12. That is the meaning. That is the meaning. Okay, so I'm done with this page. So let's move to if statements. In everyday life, we have been using if statements all around. Anything that we do, there's an if. If I go there and then they are there, I'll give them money. If I go there and then they are not there, I'll go to town. There's if, always there's if. If it's morning, I'll go to work. So that is it. So we are going to use the if statement in our Excel. Now there's a data in front of me, and I'm going to use the general column to determine something here. So we are going to use the if statement. It's also an Excel function. I've separated it because the if statement is very, should I say, is very important in Excel. So if I press equal to if, then I open brackets. Excel is telling me that the first thing that I should put here, it should be a logical test. A logical test. But before I proceed with the if, let me also explain the logical. So the logical test should give you a true or false statement. So if I enter uh, something like 6 greater than 5, is 6 greater than 5? Then it says true. That is a logical statement. It's either true or false. That is logical. So that is what Excel needs. when you type in the if I type if, it says whatever I type here should return true or false. If it returns true, then our next statement should be for the true value, and the next one should be for the false value. So let's enter a logical statement before we work on the table. So let's say if 6 is greater than 5, which we know is true, comma, then we should do what? Then maybe I can put anything in a string. Now when you want Excel to give you a text, you have to put it in a quote, double quotes. So I can say if 6 is greater than 5, then we will say greater. Then I close the quotes. Then you see that this one is bolding. It means whatever I'm typing here, when the statement is true, it will execute or it will give me this answer. When I I press comma, it says value if false. It means when the statement is false, it should give me the answer I'll type here, which I'm about to type. So let's say lower. Now I have to close my if statement. So I close it and I press enter. And it says greater. Alright, it means 6 is greater than 5. Now let's enter something that is false. So let's enter 2. Is 2 greater than 5? No. So it should give me lower. That is the if statement. That is the if statement. So let's try the if statement on our general. So equals if this is equal to adventure, which we know is adventure already. If this is equal to adventure, then you should say good movie. So let me type in the formula bar and I close it. I hope we can see the screen. Comma. If it is false, then we say bad movie. Then we close it. Yeah, even though we know the answer already, because we are going to do autofill, that's why we are doing it uh, we are doing it that way so that it will apply to all the other cells. So enter, and it says good movie because it's adventure. He said if it is an adventure movie, you should say good movie. If it is not adventure, then it's a bad movie. So let's autofill. When we are autofilling, what is going to happen? C2 will change to C3 when I come to the next cell. When I come, it will all change. So let's see. So you see we have good movies and we have bad movie. So wherever there is good, it means it's an adventure movie. Wherever there is good, there's an adventure. All right. That is a simple if statement. But in the real world, we are not going to use this simple if statement. Sometimes we have a lot of statements we have to make. If it's adventure movie, we are saying, yeah, it's good movie, right? But if it is action movie, maybe that one is not bad. We want it to be, or we want to say, yeah, that is kind of fun. If it is a romance movie, that is very romantic, or that is nice. If it is fantasy, we'll say something else. Okay, so let's try that. So I'll go to the formula bar equals if the cell, whatever is in the cell, is equal to adventure, then, so I am speaking as if it is English. So as I'm speaking, I'm typing the formula so that you understand that the comma means maybe then, something like that. So C2, if whatever is in C2 is adventure, then what should we say? good movie. Then we close our quotes, comma, else. Okay, then if it is false, let's put another if. So if it is false, another if. So whatever this if will return will come to the false statement. If it is not adventure, if it is not a good movie, then it should be something that the other if in the false section, the false section, the answer it will return will be there. So I don't know if I'm making sense here, but let's continue with the formula and see. So if the same C2 equals, this time around, let's say action. So we are doing 2. Let me do the 2 and then so that it will not be plenty in your eyes. If C2 is action, then we say horrific. Maybe horrific. Okay. And then we close it. Sorry, the if statement hasn't ended. So if this statement is true, then horrific. If not, then let's say wonderful. Let's say something like that. And let's close our if statement. This closing bracket has closed the if statement for our second if statement. So when I close it, you see that it is still telling me that I should close the other if statement. It is saying value if false. It means that I'm done with this value when it is false. Now it is telling me if this value is not true, then you should execute this as the value that is false. So I should close it at the end. Then I press enter. So it says good movie. When it is action, let's do autofill and see. So it says good movie. When it is adventure, when it is action, it says horrific. When it is romance or any other thing, it says wonderful. So that is how we can use this if statement, and you can add as many if statements as you want. That is, they should all be after the truth statement. So it should be at the false part. So you open if statement here, and then when you reach the false part, you start another if statement, and then you type in the values, and then when you reach another else if, or let's say I'm using a programming words, when you reach another the false statement, you enter if again, and then you put in the conditions in that order. So in Excel, it executes it from the beginning to the end. So please, you bring in the values you want it to check first before it checks the other ones. Okay. So that is with the if statement. I tried it on text. Let's try it on the on values and see. So if let's say this value, so I'm using the runtime. If this value is greater than, let's say, 100, then say I don't know which word I should use. Say nice time. Let's say nice time, comma, else you say boring. Then close the statements. So you can add as many as you want, and then you add through. So I'm saying nice time here because it is that one is more than 100. When I do autofill, I can see boring here. It means that runtime is not up to, where is it? It's not up to 100. So that is it, 96. So that is with the if statement. We are going to do something like results, should I say, what's the name? What's the name given to that? Grade. So grading system. We are going to do some grading system here. I don't want to be typing. Okay, let's use this place. So I'm going to use about 5 students. Let's say Adanga is part. Gertrude is here. Let's say Felicia, Hannah, John, and let's say they all have some marks. Okay. Okay. So in this column, I'm going to grade them. When you have marks greater than, so let me type in the conditions here. When I have marks greater than 80, it should give an A. When I have marks greater than 75, it should give a B. When I have marks greater than, let's say, 65, it should give a C. And when I have marks greater than, let's say, or let's say less than 39, then you should give F. I'm just using an example here. It's not the standard grading system, but I want to use this short one for explanation. So you press your equal to if it's the same thing, just that this time around we are going to use the A, B, whatever. So if whatever is in this cell is greater than 80, so let me come to the formula bar so that you see it clearly. Let me increase it a little. Okay, so if it is greater than 80, then what do? We say we give the person an A. So we put A in quotes. Sometimes you can even get it from here. You can just select it from cells so that anytime you want to change your mind and change the grading, maybe B or C or whatever, then it will work. But it's the same thing. So comma. Now, if it is not A, then it should be something else. Then we bring another if for our grading. So if the same, so you reference the same thing because we are not done for us to do the autofill. If the same cell is greater than 75, then we can say give the person a B. Else, if the same cell is greater than 65, give the person a C. Now we are done. So it means any other thing, give the person F. So we will not type any if statement again. Then we end it here. Now, after ending it, how many ifs have we opened? When we opened the bracket for this if, we didn't close. We opened for this bracket, we didn't close. We opened for this one, we didn't close. So we have 1, 2, 3 ifs. So you have to close all the 3. So we have already closed 1, so 2, and then 3. So we close it 3 here so that it will close for all the ifs before I press my enter. Now, this person got 10 and the person is getting F because the marks is less than 39 or is less than, let's say, 65, whatever marks is there. So let me do autofill here. You see that this person got B because, hold on. We said when x4 is greater than 80, it should give A. Okay, 80 is not what is here is not greater than 80, so it is giving B because it's greater than 75. So that is correct. So if I type in here 89, it's going to give me an A. If I type in 56 here, okay, it still failed. Let me type in something greater, 70. It's a C. So you see, automatically it will be grading them. So if you have the grading system, you just enter the formula there and then you do it accordingly as I've done here. So Mr. Adanga, are you clear with that?
I'm clear. Thank you so much.
Welcome. All right, so that is with the if statement. Now, the most interesting part is the concat and text manipulations. This is what I use in generating some, should I say some IDs for students. I created a Excel software for a teacher, and then he's a housemaster. So we wanted to generate some IDs for the students, but he didn't know how to do it or whatever. So I had to use Excel to generate them automatically. So whenever you enter a new student's name, then a code will be generated, or an ID will be generated with some letters at the beginning. So those letters are constant. So if it is KA, it should be always KA, but the numbers will be changed, maybe 005 or 003 or 00 whatever. And some of them we use them to create something like exit codes, so that when a student is going on exit, we generate a special code with Excel. And at any point in time, the code is different. At any point in time, the code is different for each student. So you cannot cheat your way through. So we are going to manipulate some text here. So if you understand these things, you can also do the same thing. Our first function is concat. Now concat, the full name is concatenate. And concatenate simply means we are joining text. So we are going to join text together. Now I have three columns here: the first name, middle name, last name. And what concat is going to do is that we want to join these names. It is one person's name. We want to join it here as the person's full name in one cell. So we want the name in the first column, then the one in the second column, and the one in the third column to be in one cell. Okay, so we press equals concat, and concat has come. We select, and now it says text one. So whichever text you want to join, you will first type the first one. So let me first of all use the hard code one. Let's say my name is Charles, so let me use Charles, and then comma, then text two. So I want to join Charles with what? So with, let's say, my surname, Latte. Okay, then maybe I want to join something else, maybe the @ symbol. Okay, something like that. So when I finish, I close my bracket. Excel, even if it's one bracket and you don't close it, Excel will automatically close it for you. But it's a good habit to close your bracket when you open it. So when I press enter, look at what it did. It says Charles Latte art. Now you can notice something, that the Charles Latte there, I want a space in between. I want Charles space Latte space art. So let's go to the formula again. Now concatenate is joining the Charles without a space and the Latte. So if I want to leave a space, there are two ways. I can just leave a space in front of the Latte, or leave a space in front of hey, which one is in front? In front of Charles, and then leave space at the back of Latte, whichever way. Then it will leave a space for the name. Or you can decide to leave it like that, but this time around, instead of typing Charles, comma, and Latte directly, you bring the comma and then you bring another quote with space in between. So I have is a quote with space in between. So it means join Charles with this empty space plus the latte. Then I want to add the at. So I bring another one, space, then comma. So this is the whole formula. So I have Charles quotes in quotes, comma, another quote with space, comma, latte in quotes, comma, another quote with space, comma, and then at. Enter. That is it. That is it. So we are going to apply this idea with these names. So equals Brian, sorry, concat. Concat first, then you open your bracket. So I want Brian first. This time around, I'm not going to type the name direct. So I select the cell which contains the data, comma, and remember we want a space before the child. So we can bring our quotes, space, quotes. Let me use it in the formula so that you see it, comma. Then my child comes, comma, quotes, space, comma, and then Lara. And then I close the bracket. Enter. Now it says Brian Charles Lara. Now I want to do autofill. So this one autofill will work. So all their full names are there. It spaces nicely in them. So look at concat, what it has done. So that is with the concat function. That is with the concat function. And please, that is a function, but there's a shorter way of applying the concat. I can use equals. I want to join Brian and so I'll use the and symbol and that and that. Is it and? Oh, I'm confusing you. Okay, so that is it. So you can use the ampersand symbol to join the names. So the same thing applies here. If I want a space, I'll just add the string space and then and b3 and another string space and c3. So it's the same concatenation you are doing. This time around, you are not using the function. You are using symbol ampersand. Okay, so it will do the same thing for us if you do autofill to do the same thing. So mostly I use the ampersand. I don't normally use the concat. The concat you can use it when you are not using it in a huge formula. Sometimes you have created a huge formula and you cannot be using concats there. It makes it more technical, or it makes it too many. The formula becomes too many. So when you use a ampersand, it shortens the whole thing for you. All right, then we have len, len, and that is the function that will give you the length of a text. The length of a text. Someone will ask that, oh, len, what is it going to do for us? When you start manipulating text, you are likely to use len because if let's say you want to separate some text, you are likely to use len to get the number of text there so that you will separate them accordingly. So let's continue and later you will know the importance of this function. So equals len, then it gives me a suggestion. Then it says text. So it just takes a text. Len. So which text do I want? Let me take the first thing. And it returns a number, 5. It means I have 5 letters or 5 characters in this cell. And that is the len. So len will just give you the number of characters in the cell. So I do autofill. The next one is 11 characters, 5 characters in that order. And then we have trim. Trim will remove white spaces. If I say white spaces, it is about typing something in a cell. Let's say I type something like I type something like a name, let's say John, then I leave about more than one space, John Andor. Check. See, see how it looks like. It's in the same cell. Oh. Aha, okay. So this is it. There are a lot of space in here. So when I use trim on this, it is going to remove all the spaces and leave only one space. It doesn't work on only the space in the middle. It works on even when there's a space after the handle, even if there's a space before the John. Let me try to put spaces there. All right. So let me apply the trim here. So trim, then the text. So I want this text to be trimmed. Then I press enter. Look at it. It has removed all the white spaces and it has joined it like the normal name. So all the white spaces are gone. So that is the work of trim. So sometimes someone has given you data from work and the person wants you to organize them. Sometimes you don't know whether they've left double spacing. Maybe you want to apply some formulas to it. But because you don't know, there are thousands of data, thousands of text. How are you going to be able to detect all of them that there's double spacing here, there's whatever here? So you can first use trim to extract the data nicely so that you make sure that there's no white spaces anywhere. Then you apply your formula, whatever you want to apply on it. So trim is very powerful. So that is for trim. Now we have left or right. Left or right. And left or right, what they do is they get the text, a string or a text from, they get part of the text and gives it back to you. So if I want part of someone's name, maybe some of the letters from the left or from the right of the whole text, then it will give it to me like that. So let's try with the left. So left, if I say left, it says text, and the next one is number of characters. So num chars. So that is the number of characters. So if I select the text, so it says I should select the text first. So let's say Charles, because I'm Charles. And then number of characters, I press comma, and you see that it has highlighted it. Now, how many characters do I want from Charles from the left? From the left is from C, H, that is from the left. So how many characters do I want? I want, let's say, 3. Then if 3, then it's going to return CHA. So 3, then enter. Now you see it has returned CHA. Okay. So let's try it on some of the text and do autofill. Let me remove this from here. Okay, so equals left. And then let's say Brian. So I want only 2 characters and then enter. All right, so Brian is BR. So I do autofill. That is cool. So this is what it has done. So now you can understand how I can create some codes from this. You can take the first letter, combine it with a number because you know concat, then you form some code for a student. You can use write to. Write to works the same way, but this time around it reads from the right of the text. So write, then the same to 2 characters. So it is reading from the right. 2 characters will give us AN. So AN, then you do autofill, and this is it. This is it. So that is with the left and right. So let's try to have fun with it. Try to create something out of this. We want to create an ID for each person, but this ID we want their the letter of their first name, the first letter of their first name, then together with a number, and then maybe the letter of their last name, the first letter of their last name. So this is it. So the letter of their the first letter of their first name together with a number, and then the first letter of their last name. So you should, if it is Brian Charles Lara, then you should get B, then let's say dash, then let's say a number, let's say 1, or let's say, yeah, let's say we will generate some patterns, then let's say L, yeah, so it should generate something like this. We want to generate something like this. So first of all, let's create some numbers here. Let's say we start the numbers from 100, 101. So with our knowledge in autofill, we can do this. Okay, so now we have this, and then we come to the next cell. We are going to create the first letter, and then add the dash, and then pick the number from the column I, and then add the last letter. So let's try to create some helping columns. Let's try to create some helping columns since we haven't done something like nested formulas, because there are some formulas you can combine them and it will. So let's try to create a column that will contain only the first letter, and then a column to contain the number together with the dashes, and then a column to contain the last letter. So this column will contain the first letter. So as our honorable said here, left, and then we select this one and then 1. That will give us the B. So we can do autofill. All right. So our second one should be the numbers. The numbers are already here. So what are you going to do? We are going to use concat to combine them. So this, then we enter concat, and then what is our first text? Our first text should be the dash. So it should be in quotes, the dash, comma, then the next one should be the 100, comma, and the last one should be the other dash. Then we close our concat, and that's what we are getting. We do autofill for all of them. Then the last one is our last, so that is right, and then we select, we said the last name. So the last name, hey, sorry, is the first letter for the last name, so you still left. Okay, so you select the last name, comma, and then 1, then we close it. All right, so we have the last letter, the first letter, then we do autofill. Now our last column is going to combine all these. With our knowledge in concat, we just do concat, and then we call this one, or we select this one plus this one, comma, this one. Then we have achieved that, what we want to achieve. So autofill, and we have got our code. So with this, you have generated a code, but you see, you don't want people to see what you have done here. All these chaff here, you don't want people to see. Then you hide the columns. I don't know if you have been taught how to hide columns and rows, but when you want to hide the columns, you first select the columns, and you know how to select a column. You go to the column header, and you, when it turns to the black headed arrow downwards, you select and drag over here, and you see that I've selected the columns I want to hide. I go to the same place, I right click on my mouse, and then go to hide. it has hidden all these columns. They are still there, just that it has hidden it from the user's eyes. So all the user will only see these codes or these numbers, then use it. So sometimes when I generate something like this, you want only the text. You don't want the formula to be behind it, because when I copy it, it will copy plus the formula. So one way of copying only the text is you select it. You have used the formula to generate it, but you want only the text. You select it, you copy, that is Control C, then it copies it, and then I want to paste it in the second and this column. So I select this cell as my active cell to paste. Then I come to the home tab. See here we have paste here. You click on the arrow down here and you see so many options here. Look for this one, values. You see it's paste values. Then you select values. So it will paste the values. Then you press escape to escape the selection mode. Now this text is just a text. So when I select, when you look at the formula bar, you see only the text. You don't see the formula there. Now when you come to this text or this column, you see the formula. So that is one way of also extracting the text alone, so that maybe if you want to give it to someone to just use it for something, fine. Other than that, you cannot edit anything in the formula or in the cells that contain the formula. The user cannot edit it unless you, the person who created it, you can understand what is going on there for you to edit. So that is with the concat. So we have been able to use concat together with left, right. Okay, good. Now this time around, we are going to the names are their full names. We want to separate it as first name and last name. First name and last name. So let me try to get only first name and last name. Let me try to get only first name and last name. So getting only the first name and the last name from this. I don't want it to be three names so that the formula will be too complex for us to digest. So equals, let's join this and this. Oh, sorry, and that. Okay, so first name, last name. Let me copy that, put it somewhere here. Values. Okay, so this is what I want. Now we want to separate them. This time around, your boss has given you some list of names. They have typed them together in one cell. They want you to separate them into last name and first name. So at the top here, we will type maybe first name, and then our last name should be here. Good. So in this cell, I want which one is their last name? Is it okay? Lara is their last name. Lara girl. Okay. So I want the first name to come here. Now, how do I make Excel detect and pull out Brian and put it here? The only thing that we can use is the space in between them. The space is something that we will need so that we can separate these two. And for us to do that, I think I have to introduce you to another function. And the function is search. Search, if I am going to find a text, I click on this, comma. Oh, sorry. I'm searching what? So the bolded one says find text. Which text am I searching for? I want to look for the space. So space. So I bring a quote. But first of all, let me use a letter. Let's say I'm looking for L. So let me type L here, comma, within which text? I'm looking for L within which text? So within text. Then I select and then I close. It says 7. It means L is at position 7. When I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the space is past 6 and 7. So L is at the 7th position. So if I'm able to detect where the space is, then I can get that position and use it in separating the Brian from Lara. So search returns a number. So let's see what we can do with it. And then len is the total length of the text. So listen, I've done it over and over again, but anytime I'm coming to do it again, I have to think about it again. So I'm going to separate Brian from Lara. Now we know left, we know right. When I use right, this, then comma, number of characters, I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brian is 5 characters, but I cannot type 5 and then do autofill. Sorry, it's left rather, sorry. Left. Good. I cannot do autofill because when I do autofill, see what will happen. It is not giving me the first things. It is just giving me the first 5 characters of each of them. So Christopher is now Chris. Ricky is Ricky. George is omitting E. That is not what we want. We want the full first name. So we type left and then this one, comma. But instead of typing in 5, we don't know the number of characters. And search gives us the number of characters or the position of a space, the space. So the search, if we use we are searching for the space, we can use search to search for where the space is. And in Brian, our space is at position 6. In Christopher, our space is at somewhere like 11 or thereabouts. So it will differ for each of the cells. So let's use the search here. Instead of typing in the number direct as 5 or whatever, we are using search because search is going to return a number. Else, let's do it this way. So let me do it this way so that it will be simple. Let's use the search number here. Search here. Okay. So I'll use search and then I'm looking for space. That is why when you get your text, make sure you trim it to remove all empty spaces or empty white spaces before you do this. Other than that, the search will not be able to detect the space. It will detect other spaces. Sometimes the space is in front and it will detect that space rather, not the one at the middle. So comma, then within which text? This text. And then we close it. And that is 6. So Brian's space is 6 at 6. When I do autofill, you see everybody's own is different. Then I come to this cell and I use the left. And then which text? This text, comma, number of characters. This time around, instead of typing it there, I will just select the cell here. So it will use 6 for this in this case, use 12 for the next case, use 6 in that order. So I'll close it, enter. Now I do autofill. Wow. So you see all the first names are intact. So you see Hans, Christopher, Matthew, Lisa, David, they are all there. So you see what search has done for us and together with left. So these are some of the things you can do with text in Excel. And I hope we can practice with it. Please, whenever you are there, try to play around with the functions. Just play around it. Sometimes think about some problem, a problem that doesn't is not there or is not with you. You think about it and you try to solve with Excel. It will make you practice the Excel more or learn more on it. Other than that, if you just use what we have done here alone, you cannot do a lot of things with Excel. So I will kindly end here and pave way for any question that you may ask.